So let's start. Oh, thank you. So hello everyone. Welcome to our second virtual meetup this year, and most probably we are doing more virtual meetups in coming months, maybe in the next month or another. And we have few things before we start. So that's you can follow our Twitter page for any updates with the event, or there is you can subscribe to our channel, that is YouTube channel. The whole meetup event that will be recorded and will be uploaded there, and you can join our dedicated WhatsApp group that is only for the Magento 2 developers, and you can actually discuss few things there. So here are the links. I'm going to wait for a minute, then we can move forward. Okay, so let's move forward. So today our first topic is N98-MageRun. It's a CLI tool for Magento 2, and it's called the Swiss Army knife for Magento developers. And we have our guest speaker, that is Christian Münch. And Christian is a very experienced person in the Magento and e-commerce and the software development. Of total 21 years around experience in the field, and he is among the top 50 contributors in 2019. He helps a lot in community, and actually he in a simple request he agreed to become a speaker in our event. Okay, and besides this experience, he have a bunch of Magento certifications. I can say he have a certification of every color. Okay, and there are few more certificates which I was not able to add. There are four more. Okay, so he's quite a qualified person, and I can move forward to Christian, and he can start the presentation.
So, hello everyone. So let me try to share my screen.
Yes, sure, Christian.
So I hope you see my screen now.
Yes.
Now you see my screen. So
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for the introduction. And, yeah, it's a nice introduction. I have also a slide, but only a small one. The missing certification you mentioned are for Magento 1, and Adobe removed everything related to Magento 1, so it's not possible to see it anymore. Yeah, and they have also changed the names of the certificate, so it's hard to figure out which certificate you have. Okay, yeah. I mentioned I'm working very long with Magento, so my first touch with Magento was the 0.8 beta, and we published the shop with this Magento version, but without a shopping functionality. So was not really a shop. Yeah, my passion is open source development, and I'm also organizer of meetups, so I know how hard it is to organize meetups. Find good speakers and to organize everything, and yeah, and I love my family. I'm father, married, 2 kids, and I like also other languages like Golang, and like every German, I like soccer. And I'm currently a Linux user since 20 years. So what the heck is N98-MageRun, and what is it? So don't be confused. There's also a second thing. It's also called MageRun by Brent Peterson, but it's not a tool. It's a run for people who are runners. So that's not what we are looking here. MageRun is a community project, so it was started by me and a colleague of me. But in the meantime, it's there are a lot of pull requests on GitHub and all over the world. So it's an international project now. And it's a CLI tool. So if you are a guy who likes graphical UIs and you click all the time, maybe it's not what you expect. But I can tell you it can speed up you a lot if you use CLI tools. So maybe you find a new way to work. So MageRun is published as a simple far file, the PHP archive. This means everything is in one file. It contains PHP code and it's compressed and it can be executable. If it's executable, you can run it a single file like a binary. And that's very easy. And the target groups who use MageRun are mainly developers. I show you in this presentation some examples, and it's also very widely used for in hosting companies. So some people use it because you can you can access Magento installations without changing it. So it's important if you are a hoster, you are not allowed to change the source code for your customers, but you can do checks and access the system with this tool without installing anything in your customer's project. We have two editions. So we started with a tool with the name N98-MageRun, and it's a version for Magento 1. So it's still supported, and we support now OpenMage and the last compatible Magento 1 version. But today we talk about the new one, about N98-MageRun 2 for Magento 2. And we have two separate GitHub projects, so if you find an issue, choose the right one. So a little bit history. I figured that out 2 days ago. The first commit was on 1st August 2012, so it's now 8 years ago. And it was not the intention at this time to create such a big tool. So it was more trying out Symfony components. But then with every release, we added new features, and now it's a complete tool. So it's a screenshot of the first far file we published. It's still available for download, but it's not very useful anymore. But it was very limited at the start of the project, so we had only 3 commands in there to dump the database and to get some information. And one issue of Magento 1 was to generate this local XML file, which was annoying. So we created an interactive version of that. That was the first 3 commands. But now if you try to install the new version, it's like that, only a far file. And with this one-liner or 2 lines of commands, you can install it on your local machine or on a production server, whatever you want. It's only downloading this far file, make it executable, which is optional. You can also call it with PHP and the far file, and everything is up, and you can use the tool. That's very impressive. So we have moved the hosting of the far files to a server sponsored by SurfBowl. That's a hoster from North Europe, and and he sponsored us a CDN. Oh, it's a typo. It's a CDN, not a CND. And I was impressed that we had so much traffic of far file downloads. You see it's over 200 gigabytes a week, and we figured out that it's a lot of automatic installation traffic of AWS instances, but it's a lot of stuff which is downloaded. And with this new CDN, you should be able to download it from India very fast. So how can you run the tool? So you have already downloaded the FAR file, and then make it executable. So it's easy. So you can run it by the name. If you move it in a different folder like USR local bin, then you can run it everywhere in your local system if it's in the path. And what's interesting here is you can also run all the Magento core commands. So it comes with own commands, but you can also run the core command. So it's a wrapper around the bin Magento tool. And which is very useful is the automatic root detection. So it's if you use the bin Magento tool, you have all the time to write the correct path to the bin Magento tool. And if you are in a different folder like the var import, then you have to write // bin // and that's very hard. And with the MageRun tool, you can run all the commands, but without this. You can run it in a subdirectory of your installation, and MageRun tries to figure out where the root of your project is and can run the core commands as well. It's a convenient feature. So let's start to the interactive part. I have prepared some examples. I cannot show you everything, but some commands I cherry picked. So let's start with the maintenance tasks. I call it maintenance, but you can also change the title. It's think about a hoster or a developer who does not know which system is running on the server. So you're on the server now. That's my Docker container with the Magento 2 installation. And now I can run the tool, and we start with this info command. And here you see what the result is. You have a quick overview. It's a Magento 2.3.4 community edition, or open source edition called now. And it's a ready session, and it's currently in the developer mode. So, and there are some products inside. That's only to have a quick overview. What's also interesting here is you can add here parameters. So if you run help, you see you have an option to add a key, like name. If you do that, you get the output. And now you think, why should I do that? You can do that to script or to create scripts and to utilize MageRun in there. So I know that some people do that, mostly hosting companies. If they want to create some lists or information overviews, they use MageRun to figure out the informations and to prepare that and to use it in bash scripts or shell scripts. So, and there is additional interesting option here. You can add a format option here that's also working on several other commands. If you do that, you can print out this table in a different format, like a CSV file. Then you can write it down to some information. Yeah. That's how easy it is. You can also have a XML or JSON file here. Oh, it's not visible. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is bad. Oh. Okay, let's try to change that. I shared only the one window. So sorry. So again, the sysinfo command. But now you should see my screen. Sorry. So again, what I did, I run the sysinfo command, and you get this information. And there's an additional argument here, key, with the name key. And if you use that, for example, the name, and over here the column names here, you get only the value. And this can be used for scripting. And there's a format option where you can write everything down as CSV, and you can write it in a file like info.csv. Now you can open it in Open Office or Excel or whatever. And you have the information here. And this works only for, also for other commands. There are a lot of commands which print tables, and most of them are, I think every command of us should be able to have this format option. Okay, next thing, very useful. We offer a syscheck command, which checks your local installation for common problems. So like missing PHP modules, or sometimes the bytecode cache is missing here. It detects also the send cache. And sometimes there are some cookie problems here, and the tool can help you to figure that out. If there's an error, you should see the error here. And I think it's also possible to have this as CSV file. Yeah, right. And what's interesting is you can extend this command with your own checks. So if you're interested, we have a own blog post about that. I can share that with you. Then you can, extend the check tool with checks you like search engine optimization checks or whatever you want. But you can add new groups here. It's good extendable. So we have also other maintenance commands like db maintenance check tables. This does a quick database check in your system for corrupt tables. And sometimes it helps to find out why your system is running wrong. Then you get an output. And I guess you should also can create write it down with a CSV file. So sometimes you're on a system and you want to connect to the database to check some stuff in the database, and then you need the credentials. And one common thing is that you are connecting to the wrong database. And to prevent this, we added some database commands here, like the db console. It simply uses a MySQL client and automatically adds the right credentials here. So you cannot connect to the wrong database if you use this tool. And one of my favorite commands, db dump command. So db dump command is very helpful to create a database dump. It's interactive until you add arguments here. You can add arguments to script it. And we have a lot of arguments. So for example, if you add time, we automatically create a dump name with a timestamp inside. Or you can compress the file or only print a file name. So it's very, it has a lot of features. And one of my favorite features is the strip command. So it's very important if you work for European companies. We have a very strict data protection law in Germany. Or in Europe, it's GDPR. And if you have this, you want to create a dump without customer data. And for that, we added this strip feature here. You can add a strip function and we strip out data out of the dump. And for more convenience, we added table groups. A table group means if you define a table group, it contains a list of tables which should be stripped out. And so you don't have to recognize everything. For developers, we have a add development group which removes customer data and some log data because you don't need that on your local machine. So let's demonstrate that. Now you see that a dump is created, and for this tables, the structure is exported, but not the data. So we omit the data, so the structure is still there. You can add your own table names here. For example, if you add Adobe _star, it should also exclude all tables starting with the name Adobe. So you see that here. Or you can define an explicit table name. And I will show you an example where you can extend that command, but later on. That's one of my favorite commands. You also offer a db import command where you can import the file to the right database. So some extracts for development. First, we start with the dev console command. That's a very non-documented and hidden feature of MageRun. So maybe you don't know that, but we have an interactive console inside of MageRun. So it's like a shell for MageRun. And as you can see, if you are inside of a Magento project, we try to initialize the project. You can also use it outside. Then you have a shell which can run commands, but not in the Magento context. So this is it's called REPL. REPL means read event print loop. So for example, you can write down expressions here like 5, and it's calculating. So it reads the input, evaluates it, executes it, and prints the output. That works for everything with PHP. So you can do that. It's always printing the result. That's the basic stuff of this tool, Dev Console, but it's not everything. So it comes with a lot of built-in subcommands. So like this here. And let's demonstrate what we can do. So we already added this foo variable here, and you can now list all variables inside your session. You can add a -l here, and you should see more information about the data type, and this is the resource identifier. So if you have two variables of the same, we're pointing to the same memory location, then you should see the same number here. So, and we come with some pre-registered registered variables. So the most important thing is this $di variable, which references the object manager. And as Magento 2 developer, you know what the object manager is. It's used to create objects to make everything with dependency injection. And so if you use DI, as you use an object manager, and you can type tab here, double tap, and you see all the possibilities of this object. You can see all the public methods. And let's try it out. So I copy paste here some brief written stuff. So this should work. So you can try out stuff in a production system without creating some scripts or to deploy some scripts on the server. So it's very useful to figure out problems. Possible to use this variable here. And you can see all the getters and the public functionality. So this should return the order. Here can you see this? It's the same object because the repository returns 2 times the same. Just get. It works also for other stuff like factories. So for automatic generated classes like factories, it also works. So now is the question: what if I have some DI XML file for a special area, like for the front-end area? So I'm currently in the admin HTML area. If you open the dev console, if you want a different area, you can add here an area option here. Oh, sorry. That's the list. Now you're also in the front-end area. You see that here. And if you do the same, you get it respects your configuration. That's very useful to figure out problems with DI. There are some other hidden features here. So you can call every MageRun command. Call, and then you can define the MageRun command. Also Magento core command. And if you have a variable like this product variable, you can use show $product to see the source code of the class behind the instance. Let's have a quick look. It's not to replace your IDE. It's think on a production system and you want to figure out stuff. Also, there's also a dump option. Oh, sorry. Our order is empty. So let's create an order again. You get a nice format here. Here it is. You see the order number 1 and can check the data without looking all the time in the database and to search for everything. You have everything here with 2 simple lines of code in your production system. If you run help, or you can also use a question mark here, you see all the commands which are available. And one big part of this CLI is we have a code generator inside where you can create modules in an interactive way. So let's create a new Magento module. First have a look on existing modules. If you run modules, you see all modules in your system. And it should be possible to see only module starting with Amazon. You can have a quick look on your module list. And if you want to create in your module, you have to make module command. So let's create a Lucknow sample module. And the important thing is it creates the source code in the background and registers it live in your component registration. So it has no need to clear the cache here. It's now active. If you run modules, Lucknow, you should see the new module, and you can now add additional stuff to your module. So we have several make commands. So if you and important is you are now in the context of this module. So every make command you use generates code inside of this module. You can also change the context by calling module and the module name here. It's this command. Then you change the context of the code generation. But we want to create now code for the new module. So let's create a DI file, for example. DI. Now we have the etcdi XML file generated. For we need the routes file, and let's create some classes, some dummy classes. If you want to create a block, you can create a food bar. And this dot separates namespaces. And now we have the block foo bar. Have a look on the system. Now we have Lucknow sample block foo, and we have a bar PHP here. It should work. And the XML files here can be used as to bootstrap new modules. And that's a module generator. So if you have new ideas, let us know. We can also create controllers and command classes for CLI commands. And these commands are a little bit more complex because they also add the missing XML configuration and can also extend existing commands with modules with new commands, and they can modify the existing XML configuration. So it should work in your existing projects. Next bunch of commands I want to show you are the syscron commands. I listed that under development, but it's not really a development command. But you can use these commands to test your cron shops. If you are a developer and you create a new cron shop, and it's not a good idea to wait until it's time that the cron shop runs, then change your code. Wait until the time comes. With these commands, you can execute any cron shop immediately. So you can also debug your code, your cron shops, if during the development. So let's look how it works. These commands. So we have syscron history. On this system, I do not execute any cron shops currently, but so the history is empty. But let's check if we can run a cron shop. If you don't specify a name of the cron shop, you get a selection. It prints out all the cron shops of the system. And for example, the bulk cleanup, let's run this here. We can use the number here. And the job is executed. History should show that now. That's very easy. We have also only the list command, which lists here all the cron shops and the runtime and the group, which is also very useful to figure out if anything is modified on the system. and you can export it as CC file. JSON. It works. Very useful. And sometimes we want to see if your cron job is really executed by the cron job manager. So we offer this cron schedule command where you can schedule a cron job that runs in the next minute. So you can check if the cron job is really executed by your maybe Unix cron job. So config management, next part. I hurry a little bit up. So we have several commands here to work with configs. And let's see what we can do here. We use the config store commands. This means the store configuration in your system. You can print out everything which is stored in your database in the config data table. And you can use wildcards here. So this works also. Very useful. And the opposite command is set, where you can define a path. I will not execute it because it changed my values, and you can define a scope here. You can say scope is store and the scope ID, and I think the scope ID can also be the store code or the website code. It depends what you define as scope, and then you can change everything in your database. This is also very widely used in automation scripts. And since the last version, we also offer a bunch of config env commands here. So like create, set, and show. And what it does, it reads config env and flats it a little bit. So it's, no, sorry, config env help should be removed. It's a flat version of your cascaded PHP file here. And what's new, you can also change values here. So if you want to change the save option here to DB, change the value again. It's a very useful thing. If you don't have any env-PHP file on your system, maybe if you have cloned your system, it offers, the set command offers you it's a create command. It's a create command. There's a create command, and this create command can bootstrap the env-PHP file with all the required values in an active way. That's not for production systems. So you can update existing env files, but if there is no env file available, you have a interactive wizard here to create an env-PHP file. And for developers, we have some special commands like config data ACL, where you can print the ACL tree of your system. So if you create new ACL, you can see that, and it's printed as tree because it's in the background a tree, and it's you can see the order of your ACLs here. That's very useful if you create new ACLs. So next thing. So more and more integrations are done with APIs, and for developers or at Nets98, we have an automatic development box which is created based on Docker. And for this, we want to create for all the developers all the time an API integration which can be used to test for example, with Postman. And we share our Postman collections in the company, and so it's very useful to have all the time the same API key. If you create the API key in the Magento backend, Magento creates a key, a randomized key, and you get all the time a unique new key. But that's what we want in a production system, but not in the development system, and not for the automation, automatic creation of a development box. And so we added this integration commands here, which can create new integrations. So first you can see all the integrations. So if you list the integrations here, you see I have one automatically created integration here. It's for this dev box, and it's currently active. When I want to see some information, I can say show one. And I see all the credentials of the integration number one. But the important thing is this create command. This create command comes with options to hard code the keys here and the secrets and tokens. If you omit one of these options, it's generated by the original Magento algorithm, which creates a random key or token. But if you define it, it will create you an automatic token, a hard defined token, which can be all the time the same. Like in our case, we have 23 times 1 for everything. So you can hard code that in your Postman, and it works for every customer project, development customer project. Example for that in our dev box, it looks like this. It's a simple bash script. So we ask MageRun to search for this integration with the name N98-DevBox. And if it's not there, it creates this integration. And if it already exists, it prints it out. So it's reliable. Okay, let's switch over to configs. We have several configs in MageRun. One is built in. This is this config YAML file, which can be looked up in the master branch of the project. But then you can define different configs which can extend the config or override existing configuration values. You can do that on system level for your machine, so an etc folder, or on a user level in your home folder here. Or you can place a config in your project. And let's see how that works. I have this simple example here. So this application check root user is useful for example, Docker containers which run with root user, because MageRun already mentions that you are running MageRun as root user, which is not recommended for in a general usage. But if it's an automatic script in a Docker container with root, I can suppress this warning here with this configuration option. And the second is an extension of existing config. And what I do is I extend the dump command, the strip options, with a new table group. I added this Adobe table group, and this will extend the command. And I have a new table group which excludes all the Adobe tables. I've prepared that. And we place that here in the project on project level. This file exists. You should have now a new table group. If you run the db dump command with help, you can see all the table groups. And now this command is interactively extended by the help is extended by our new table group. And now we can use it in our db dump command. And you can also use other groups here as well in combination, but I want to use only the Adobe group now. Okay. It works. And that's how you can extend your project. You can also extend existing groups and define your own tables or add your own tables to existing groups that will be respected if the file is committed in your project. And sometimes you need that, and no one has to think about that. If you create a DB dump with MageRun and you have your config in the project, it's automatically respected and loaded. And we set this on the Docker containers for our GitLab CI pipeline. If you are interested to create own modules, for example, you are an agency and have your own workflows and your own configuration management or your own checks and so on, we offer a module system. You can create modules containing configs and commands, and you can also place these modules on system scope in your project or on your user level, and it works like this simple config file, but with a complete module with modules with commands, and so it's really extendable. But it's too much to show that in this presentation. But I have this link here where it's described when there are some third-party modules available. So, and after that presentation of some commands, I will show you a little bit about our release workflow. So that, since the tool is used very widely in mission-critical environments, we added a lot of QA stuff here to guarantee that the tool is running like it should. What we do is we have a webhook proxy on a system running, and if there's a git push for a branch or the pull request, we automatically trigger Travis builds, which runs tests, and we have, I think, 70% test coverage for the tool, which is not so bad. And we try to run all the commands in several Magento versions. And if we do a release, we have this proxy here, and this proxy figures out if there is a release to be created and published. And then we have a Drone CI server running, which deploys a new feature. And what I now, that looks like this. So if there's a new release to do, we clone the system, we verify that everything is right. We create a FAR file, and for security, we sign it with PGP. And after that, we update also dist repositories. So we also offer a composer dist file, which can be used, which automatically adds a FAR file in your project as composer package. This is automatically triggered here. We update our website where you can download MageRun. And since we have this Cloudflare CDN running, we invalidate the Cloudflare CDN so that the new version is, you can see the new version. Otherwise, it's in the cache and you don't see the new version. And then I get an email that the new release is published. And what I now do is I do a live release because I already prepared the next MageRun 4.2 release. And we can now live deploy a new release here. Let's see now in my local develop master branch. And now I push the new MageRun release in production. Okay. Already tested.
Wurde gestartet.
And that's the new MageRun version. Let's see here. You are now live on stage. It's a live MageRun deploy of the next MageRun version. So Cloudflare CDN is already validated. Let's have a look here. Interesting. There's a small issue here in the caching layer. I will check that after the meeting. But now let's see if the deploy was successful. I will now update my tool here with the self-update command. And you see, it's up. This is a live deployed new version of MageRun. And it's now ready to use for everyone. And we offer now MySQL 8 support and support Magento 2.4. So have fun with that. If you are looking for resources, that's a resource where you find most of the stuff. We have a blog, magerun.net blog. We have this files website where you can see which files are available. We also offer old far files. There's an archive here. Also version 1 and also old MageRun versions. Well, most of them. And we have 2 wikis for the MageRun 1 version and one for the MageRun 2 version, where we describe how you can create commands and where you have to place the configuration and how you can create modules. So that's everything. Now I'm open for questions. Oh, I missed that. Okay, good. Dev console, my favorite. Okay, questions. Will it also update the DI file already present in module? I'm not sure, but I think yes. It should, because we always try to use XML files. It's not like string replacement. So we load XML files and we extend it by PHP commands. So in general, it should, because if you add a new CLI command, it's also extending the existing config. But this make di command, which I showed, is to create an empty new file. So it's not helpful for that. But in general, some commands will extend the configuration. Yes. So next question: will it also? Magento 2.4 and MySQL 8 support. Yes, that's new. So we had some issues with that. And one guy in the community tested that. So it's not provided by me. It's supported by, it was provided by Callum, and he mentioned that there are some glitches with MySQL 8 and the current tool stack. So he added the MySQL 8 support. And we will also figure out if we can extend the db dump command to use the new MySQL 8 client, which can dump your data with several parallel threads, which can improve the speed of the dump a lot of. There are some nice benchmarks available. Can we send parameters for roots, not font name? I'm not sure. Most of the time I use the IDE to create the config files, but I use sometimes this console CLI tool to bootstrap a new module. And then I switch over to my PHP storm. So, for example, you need a new module, you use the dev console to create the module and some empty classes, you know that you need that, and then switch over to your IDE. Yeah. So I don't see any question. I hope I didn't miss one. Yeah, that's but it's possible. I can, if you are interested, I can share you some configurations where we install the tool during the, I think during the build step of the deployment in the Magento cloud. So it's technically possible. Yeah, but it's possible. I think it's possible to place the tool during your during the build step, which is where you can have a writable setup. So you can add the tool installation in the YAML file of the cloud for the build step. So it's more secure. But you cannot use the self update then. Yeah. Okay.
I think I have also read a question in chat.
Yeah. Yeah. You can use it wherever you want.
It's actually very helpful in production because you cannot change the files in the live, so you can test in the dev console there, and you can do you can
Yeah, that's the purpose of this command for production systems. That's right. So if you're a hoster, you should not modify the code if you try to figure out some stuff. But now you can access the code. Or as developer, that's the example with the order. We had several situations where we used this order loading to look inside an order. Otherwise, you have to check several tables, and sometimes you don't know if the table is used in your code. So this loads order with all the events triggered, and so you can have an easy view on your order. For other for example, products, you can do whatever you do in your PHP code. Yeah. Yeah, this command was added because we had similar issues. So I think some permission issues where in some cases the triggers were not created after the deployment, and then we were able to fix the triggers, the missing triggers, and regenerate it. There is a command to resize the product image, but I think it's a core command. It's not provided by MageRun.
I think in 2.4 they actually modified the command to use it asynchronously by using like queues as well, like consumer queues. So like if you have a large data set, you can actually use the asynchronous way of running this command. It actually creates a queue jobs, and the consumer picks it up and does all the resizing by itself.
So I think we are done with the session, and we can like do a small 5 to 10 minutes break. Okay, and like if you want to have a like drink water or eat something, you can go for that. And I'll be available for the moment, and I'll share the links if you want to look into like.
And Christian, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really helpful. I also discovered a lot of new commands which I have not like used so far, but I'm really excited to use it in my future projects.
Yeah, great. Hope you see us in real
Yeah,
someday.
sure.
So we have our like links that you can follow, or you can get the YouTube video this on the YouTube. You can also join our WhatsApp group for any communication after this like meetup, and we'll be sharing the slides once the Christian made it available to us, and like we'll be sharing 3 vouchers for the JetBrains IDE. And if anybody actually needs them, he can either ping me or Atish. We will share them, or we will do a random thing and distribute anyone who actually joins this meetup randomly. Okay, so let's take a 5 minutes break, and it's now 3:34, and we will start a next session that is on the performance profiling and optimizations using Blackfire, and that will be started at 3:40. So let's wait for 5 more minutes, and then I can introduce Anand, who is already here in our meetup and connected, and like I can eat my pizza, which I have already ordered, and I got it delivered. Okay, so okay.
Recording now, and will resume after 5 minutes.
It is we have Anand here. Let me share my screen. Yes. So we have our next session that is on Magento PHP performance profiling using Blackfire, and we can like learn something about optimizations during this profiling. Okay, and we have Anand here he is a senior technical consultant at Adobe, and he have 7+ years of experience in software development. And besides Magento, he plays TT, badminton, talks about space science, and he's originally from Lucknow. So he's from here. He's working in Adobe, and like we are actually great to have him as speaker today. He have also a like set of Magento 2 certifications of 4 different colors, and we can assume that he is a lot capable. Okay, Anand, are you available?
Yeah, hi Milind, hi everyone. So thank you for joining. First of all, it was a great presentation by the Christine. I learned a lot from that MageRun 2 tool. So let me share my screen, okay?
Yes, it's all yours.
Yeah. No, entire screen. Yeah, can you all see my screen?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so okay, can you all see my screen, and am I audible properly?
Yes, Anand, we are very clear.
Yes, Anand.
Okay, thank you. So this is my presentation. Okay, so let me introduce myself first. My name is Anand Singh, and I'm from Lucknow, India. And in a Magento Meetup, this is my first presentation. Okay. And my presentation topic is Blackfire. Blackfire, which is actually a profiler which we can use to profile our code to debug the performance issues or to optimize our code so that the code runs much fast. So the first presentation is this is a performance is money. Why the performance is money? So see, let's say we are working on a project, okay, and we spend, let's say 1 month, and after 1 month we deployed our code changes to the production instance, and there it is not performing well, okay, or maybe the production site is already running and it is receiving the orders, all the integrations, all the customization is working properly, but after one deployment we moved one pull request that contains some code customization, but after that the site is taking more time to load for the PDP, PLP, or for any background process, for anything. The site becomes slow. Now, initially, the merchant expectation is after each deployment, after each code changes, there will be some improvement on the site, okay, and then we will earn more revenue. But let's say after one deployment, we got some performance issues. So instead of upgrading the application or upgrading the site, the performance becomes slow. In this way, the revenue will get decreased. So just think how the performance matter in terms of the business. Okay, so to debug the performance issues and to check what are all the area that might causing the performance issues while running the application, in terms of like any custom code changes, or whether it is taking our code is fine, but due to any third-party integration or API call or any microservices call, it is taking longer time that was not taking before. So that is something we have to analyze how we can do. At this point, this Blackfire will help. So our agenda of this session is we will learn now. So first of all, Blackfire introduction. What is the Blackfire is all about? What are the benefits we can get from using the Blackfire profiler? How we can set up and install the Blackfire? What is the architecture of the Blackfire? How Blackfire interact with your code and how it generates the report? All those things we will discuss. How internally the Blackfire is working, and this we have to understand properly, because then only we can think how we can profile our code, and then we will learn what are the different ways we can profile our code. Okay, so why I'm saying, because let's say the site is headless, or we have any mobile application that is connected to the Magento that is only accessing the APIs, but for the browser we have the website, and we have some crons also running, consumer jobs also running. But let's say the problem with the consumer or any cron, or the problem, the slowness problem is with the API. Then what are the different ways we can profile our code? And then once we have the profile ready, we have to analyze our Blackfire report. So before we go into the discussion for the Blackfire, we have APM also, and the very known APM is New Relic. But New Relic is something which is continuously running on the production server, and it used to collect the execution data for each and every request, and it used to generate the report on the New Relic. Okay, but it cannot dig deeper into the code, because it may cause the it may cause the site slowness. So APM is something, it always run on the server to collect the data for each and every request, and it collects the different metrics like how the CPU performing, and what are the third services, MySQL slow queries, what are the different classes is being loaded, and which class is taking time. All those things it is doing, but it cannot dig more into the deeper. But if we have some slowness on the site, and that we have to debug. Then at that time, the Blackfire come into the picture. So Blackfire is something. This is a Blackfire is something a profiler which profile our code into the depth, and it investigate and collect so many useful information that is running while the code is in execution. Okay, and it only runs we ask to run, not always. It means it's not like APM, which is always running on the production server. Blackfire is something when we actually tell to Blackfire, please profile this request and just generate the resource consumption data only for this particular profile or only for this particular request. Then only it will come into picture, activate it, and collect the data, or else it will just kind of a service running on the server. It will not do anything. So it means it is safe to use on the local, and it is safe to use on the production also. So because it is only running once we actually tell to Blackfire execute it. So there are three parts for the site performance. So one is time. So let's say we are on the product display page, and we clicked on the add to cart button. So as soon as we click on the add to cart button, a request will go to the server. Then on the server, some processing will happen. So the time consumed by the server is a kind of a backend execution, which is running on the server as a PHP code. That will be a backend type work. Okay. Then how much time it will take to return the response from the server to the browser, that will be consumed by the network, and then the browser know how to render the response. Okay. Then the point is, browser know how to handle the response, but server is something, if we have any performance issues on the server or the site is slow due to any reason, at that time we can use the Blackfire tool or profiler on the server to profile our code. Okay, and we can see and analyze what all issues are happening. Yeah, so next is what is Blackfire and introduction. So Blackfire is a profiler performance management solution. Blackfire helps developers profile, test, debug, optimize performance of their application. Okay, Blackfire provides performance recommendation. So Blackfire is something, it will scan your code during execution. It will collect the data, and it in the graph, it will show like these are the areas which might we have to optimize it or improve it as part of the execution, and it will also some recommendation from its own end. Okay, Blackfire helps to set and reach performance expectation through assertion. Through Blackfire, we can set some assertions rules also, like if the query count is the Blackfire will only pass as a success assertion once we have the query count is less than 50. If it is exceeds the 50, then still the profile is not optimized. We have to work it again. That all those rules we can set with the Blackfire, that we will see in my demo. After that, Blackfire gathers a lot of data about how your code behaves at runtime. Okay, so what happened if any requirement comes from the client, we implemented the code, we move to the production, but while moving the production, because the production is facing the actual live traffic with the so many concurrent users and live integrations, at that time maybe our code causes some performance issues. So at that time, how our code is behaving, okay, that all the details it will show. Blackfires can be used at any step of the application lifecycle during development, test, staging, and production. So this Blackfire we can use in our local development, and we can use on the staging, and we can use on the production. In all the development lifecycle, we can use this. On application code execution, Blackfire gathers resource consumption data. Okay, that's correct. Next is, yeah, so benefits of Blackfire. Blackfire, this I already covered. Okay, so Blackfire can be used on production. It adds no overhead for the end user. So why it is because Blackfire is something we have to request to the Blackfire, or we have to tell to Blackfire just execute this particular request. At that time, we know that this is our like a debugging type request, and if it is taking more time, then it is okay, because the actual real user is not waiting for the response. This profiler or this Blackfire will activate only for the particular request we just ask Blackfire to profile. Okay, and because of this, it is safe to use on the production. Then no need to modify the code for instrumentation. On the fly, Blackfire will gather the resource consumption data only if Blackfire is requested by the authorized Blackfire agent. So it is something how we will request to Blackfire. So we have some set of credentials that we have to provide to Blackfire, and then it will start the profiling. Okay, and then this Blackfire we can use for the web pages profiling and web services, or any command line command we have, like let's say PHP bin Magento, any command we have, if we want to profile that. So all those things we can profile through this profiler. And more proactive than APM, we set our performance exception through assertions. So this I already covered in my previous slide. So this is something like let's say we want our like DB query execution time should not exceed more than 500 millisecond. If it exceeds, then still our test is not passed. We have to work on again optimization. So all those things we can cover with this. Like unit testing, integration testing, we can write our performance test scenario. So we will see this, how we can write the test scenarios with the Blackfire. Yeah, so now the Blackfire stack means till now we know like what is Blackfire, for which purpose we can use Blackfire, but how the Blackfire is what are all the components, what is the architecture of Blackfire. So in the Blackfire, first thing we have probe, the second is agent, third is browser extension, client, and website. So okay, let's say like merchant is there and we are working for the merchant, and merchant complains that after the last deployment the place order is taking longer time to finish. So initially it was taking, let's say 2 seconds, now it is taking 4 seconds. Then we have to check like what exactly happened after the last deployment. So at that time, let's say we will create one team that Blackfire will give us one, is a kind of a team. That team, the first person is the probe means the person who will actually collect the runtime data. This is a person who will actually collect the runtime data. What all the runtime data means, which function call, which functions, and which function took how much time for the file read write, and which function took longer time for the CPU cycle, and like which function is calling the third-party API call, and what is the DB query execution, what is the slowest query, and which function is taking longer time to execute. So all the data related to the code execution, it is a job of the probe to collect the runtime execution data for the code. The second is the agent. Agent is something who is just sitting on the server. He is just waiting that if whatever the data will provide by the probe, which is collected by the probe, and the probe will provide all the collected data to the agent, and now agent will prune the data, and so it will sanitize the data and it will aggregate the data, means whatever the data it will collect from the probe, it will check it and just keep it with oneself. Then it will upload to the Blackfire server. There we can go and check whatever the data collected in a very beautiful manner. There we can see the actual report. Now browser extension. The browser extension is something like who will tell to the probe do the actual profiling. See, probe is something like it will collect the data. Agent is like who will send the collected data to the Black.io server. The browser extension is something it will tell to the Blackfire, or you can say to the probe, to start the execution. Otherwise, it will not happen each and every request. Well, it will happen only on demand, that we can do through the browser extension. Okay, so this is for the browser web HTTP request. Now the client is command. Now what if we have some, let's say we have any command or we have any script or any background job. What if I want to profile that? So at that time, the client is the command line equivalent to the browser extension. So there is a Blackfire tool that I will show you. So this we can use, and it will same again pass some credentials to the probe, and the probe will authenticate with the Blackfire IO server, and it will start collecting the data. Okay, and the website means the Blackfire.io website, which is used to visualize the profiles that I will visualize in next slide. Okay, so this is Blackfire workflow. Then how this is working? So let's say this is our browser, and this is the Blackfire IO server. Once we let's say we have to profile our PDP page. Okay, then there's an extension is there. We have to enable that extension. Then it will pass the client ID and client secret credentials to the Blackfire IO server. It will authenticate. Yes, the client is a valid client. It's an authorized client. It will come to here. Then the signature will pass to the probe, and the probe will check. Okay, the signature is passed. It means this is a valid request for the Blackfire profiling for the current code. Then it will interact with the PHP or Python, whatever the script is running. It will collect the execution data related to everything: caller, callee, CPU time, memory usage, and SQL query count. Everything it will collect, and it will send to the agent. Agent is something which is just sitting idle and waiting for the probe to provide some data so that it can pass it to the Blackfire IO server. So once the data pass to the Blackfire IO server, it will there we can go and see the complete Blackfire report. Now the next is, so this is also a kind of a same diagram as before. So this is our probe, this is our agent. Okay, this probe and agent combines together to profile the data. This browser extension is something this will interact with the actual developers. So once developer wants to profile it, so he has to enable the profiling. That will tell to the probe, hey probe, just start the profiling, and once done, send it to the Blackfire server, and then the agent will upload the collected and aggregated data to the Blackfire IO server, and then everything is done. There we can go and we can see our Blackfire report. Now there are what are the different ways of the Blackfire profiling? So one is through browser extension. Browser extension I will show. So browser extension is something if we have a like a HTTP request for the site, actually HTML pages, like we have a PDP page, PLP page, and we have a add to cart page, place order. Like we are doing a complete journey for from the browser. And if we have to profile that type of thing, we can use the browser extension. But if we have something, let's say we created any cron method or some Symfony PHP bin Magento tool we created, or something like that related to the console related activity, we will use the CLI utility. And then the Blackfire PHP SDK. This is a Blackfire software development kit for the Blackfire, and this is something once we need to actually not to profile the entire request or entire execution from index.php hit main method to the last response set. We just need to profile a few lines of code that we suspect that may cause the performance problem. So at that time we will use the PHP SDK. Now once the profiler is uploaded on the Blackfire server, I mean the profile report, it will look something like this that I will demo. So this is something like this. It will demo, like here it will show the call graph, which functions call which function, how much time the particular function is taking, and how much percentage of the parent function taking the child function call. Here we can also see so many things, data that I will demo. So there are two ways to represent the collected profile data. One in the graph manner. The second is one is the timeline manner. Timeline is something we can see if the total time it took for the 5 seconds, then exactly what happened at 4th second, or what happened at 3rd second, exactly what happened at that point. So at that time, if we have something that type of things to analyze, we can use the timeline that I will demo. So till this point, we discussed the like a theory related thing. What is Blackfire, and where we can use, how we can use. In the theory where we will discuss. Now we will check how we can install the Blackfire in our local and start the profiling. Okay. So okay. So first of all, so let me go to the incognito window, because I have already created the Blackfire account. Okay, so the thing is, so as a new user, we have to sign up for the Blackfire profile. Okay, then we will log in into the Blackfire account. So right now I'm already logged in, so we can just go to here and maybe we can log in through the Google account, or we can create our own sign up. Then we will get one Blackfire account. After that Blackfire account, we will get account like this. Okay, there if you go there, if you go here, then see, the thing is, this Blackfire is a paid tool, but Blackfire provides for the 15 days as a free trial. Okay, for the enterprise version. Okay, so it has like, if you see here, this is a pricing plan for this. So like these are the pricing plans, and each pricing plans contain different features what it provides. Okay, but to check for the functionality, to get the sense of how it can be useful for us, it provides a 15 days free trial for the premium account. So right now I have created one demo account. Okay, right now I have created one demo account with this, and I have activated for the free trial. Okay, so after that, once you sign up, you have to create one organization. This organization is something, yeah. So organization is something. Let's suppose that you have a team and you have multiple team members like that. So you can create one organization and attach multiple team members to the same organization. This way, each and everyone can contribute their code profiling into the same organization. Also, it has an environment thing. Like you can create multiple environments, like let's say staging environment, integration environment. So all those things. So this is for the like I want all the so like integration related profiles to go into the integration environment for this organization. So like that, it provides this organization an environment feature also with the multiple team members based on the pricing plan. Okay, so but right now I have just registered as a demo account for the free trial. Okay, after that, once everything is done, we will get two IDs. We will get, one second. Yeah, so if you go to the credentials, we will get one client ID, and we will get client ID, client token, server ID, server token. What is this client ID, client token? This is used to activate the probe we discussed in our previous slide. This is something we will use to activate our probe for the profiling. Okay. Now how we can install this? So for the installation, just go to if you are going for the installation, the first step is to register on the Blackfire, number one, and complete that organization part and start the free trial. All those things. Once it is done, now we will go for the installation part. So in the installation, it is a pretty clear document. I mean, very simple document, very straightforward document. Then it will ask like, I want to install for my local machine or on the server. So right now for my local machine, and for which type of OS are we using? Ubuntu, and it supports PHP, Python, and Go. So as Magento, or I'm a PHP developer, then I will use PHP. And if I do let's start, then it will show me like the first. I mean, this is like a normal Ubuntu package or a tool installation. So just follow all these steps. Just copy it from here, run on the console, and it will keep go so smooth. Now I just want to show here one thing. So if you see this is our agent. So this agent means we are installing the agent, sudo apt install Blackfire agent. So by running this command, we will get the agent service. Okay, number one. After that, we have to register for the agent. So the server ID, server token, we have to use that. Right now, I'm already logged in with my account. Then it is already showing the server ID and server token. It is already showing. Okay, and like that one. Then we have to restart the Blackfire agent. This is done. Now we have to install the PHP probe. PHP probe means this point. PHP probe means this one. I have to install. Then just run this command and everything will be installed. Now to start the profiling, we have to install the Blackfire add-on or we can say extension. Okay. So this extension, I have already have installed this Blackfire here. I already have installed the Blackfire here. So that's why it is showing Chrome extension is already installed. Okay. So nothing to do here. So once this is done, I mean, this is a very simple, straightforward document. We just need to install this and then everything is done. After that, once we have to profile the thing, then here, there are 3 ways to profile as it is showing. One is through the browser, through using the Chrome extension tool. The second is the CLI. CLI is for the command related, and PHP SDK once we have our manual instrumentation, like if you want to execute particular piece of code. So at that time, this PHP SDK we will use. Okay. Now, this is my Blackfire account. So here, if we see, so Blackfire is already running. Okay. So Blackfire agent. So if you see this Blackfire is already running. Now, let's see how we can profile the code. So let's say like if we have something like, let's say PHP -r echo hello world. Okay. Then what will happen? It will print the output. Okay. Yeah. That it will. I mean, it will print the output. But now, if we have to see how much time it took and like all the profiling related, then we just need to use the Blackfire utility, Blackfire, and say the run. So what we are saying, hey Blackfire, run this PHP code and just let us know what is the profile report. So if we do this, so it generated the profile here. Okay. Now it is saying the wall time. See. Okay, let me explain here. So wall time is something, the total time taken by the code to generate the response, or we can say this is the sum of IO wait or this is the sum of IO wait and the CPU execution. So let's say if any PHP function is there, okay, so there are 2 possibilities. Either that function will execute or it is waiting for some other purpose. So that the sum of the IO and the CPU time, it will make the wall time. This is called wall time. So it is taking 240 microsecond. Okay, and if you go to this profile, just copy this. Because I am already logged in, we can see my profile. So this is the profile. Right now it is showing the wall time is 240 second and input output wait was 1 microsecond. CPU consumption was 239 microsecond and memory utilizes 36.1 KB, and there was no SQL query count, there was no network call, there was no HTTP call, nothing. So just to print this echo hello world, it took this much time. Now for the demo purpose, I have created one module. Sorry. Yeah. So my module is app code Lucknow Blackfire test. So here I have created one console command. This is a Lucknow Blackfire test. Okay. So what it is doing, it is calling the execute method for this main loading. Main loading means we have 3 classes: fast loading, main loading, and slow loading. And in the main loading, this is the main files, and here we are injecting the fast loading and slow loading and one client URL. So right now we are just going to profile for the fast one. So if you go to the fast one, go to execute. So okay, so here we are. So I'm just using the sleep method just to simulate the heavy class resource injection. So if the constructor contain a big chain for the heavy classes, that is that will be loaded into the chain, the entire object creation will get slow or it will be delayed. Okay, so to demo that purpose, I have put it sleep here. And then what I'm trying to do here is just trying to collect the product data. And if you see this is the method. So here what I'm doing, I'm just loading the product collection object and getting the 100 product. And again in the for each, I'm trying to get the product. I'm trying to load the product object using get by ID and then printing them. So if you see this is not optimized code because we are loading the object, or we are making the DB queries again and again into the for loop. Okay, so that is a resource consumption or expensive operation. Okay, then just see how it will show into the Blackfire. So this is done. Now we are just calling the Blackfire one, Lucknow Blackfire test. So Blackfire run PHP bin/Magento. This is our module, and let me clear some files. Okay. So I have logged the output also, so we will get to know if. So if you see here that all the 100 products, product name and price, I was trying to print the product name, product name and product price. So it got printed here. Okay. Now let's see how much time it took to perform these things. Then we will get one profile here. It is generating. So by looking into the profile, so this is the metric. So total wall time, it took 11 seconds, and IO wait time, it took 2.63. Okay, and the query execution, total query executed is 1140 request, and the execution, see, this is the query execution time and this is the query count. So it took 602, and what is the CPU time and memory, all those things. And there was no network call, then it was not here. Now if you see this profile, so if we go to the Blackfire listing, then here we will get, this is our Blackfire test. Okay, so, okay, now I have to explain this thing. This is very important to understand. So first of all, see, now we have to see like why this particular function, let's say if any wrong code like this got moved to the production, okay, and we thought it worked in our local, but on production it is taking it is not throwing any error, but it is causing the performance issues. So this is just a sample code. Like that, there could be any reason, any bad code is written in Magento that is as part of our custom module that is causing the performance issue. Okay, so if you see here, this is showing like it executed 1140 query requests. So if you see, we can see like this particular query is taking this is executing for 100 times and taking total 54.2 millisecond. So is there any possibility we can optimize this? Like by looking into here, we can get the sense why this much query is executing. It is actually needed, or there's some scope of optimization. So DB connection time, it took 715 microsecond, and this is a total query execution time. This is the first thing here. The second thing is, so see, once the code is executing and once this is get by ID is trying to fetch data from the database. So at that time, the execution counter, or you can say the script, is on hold for some microsecond or millisecond. That is kind of an input output wait. So that will contribute to this one. Input output wait. Okay, so this is something, this input output wait is happened because of we are writing something into the file, or we are trying to read from the file, but the file is already locked by some other process. So whatever the reason, it will show here 2.63. The CPU consumption was 8.8 seconds. The memory consumed is 76.8, and there was no network call, there was no HTTP call part of this profiling, so it shows 00. Now here, so this is a graph that we will discuss. So in the left hand side, we have to understand here in the left hand side. So first of all, if you see here, so it is showing four things. The first is function call, second is exclusive, inclusive calls. So what is exclusive and inclusive? So inclusive is something, the total time taken by script before entering into any function and exiting from the function, the total time. It means, let's say this is the collect product data, then at what time the execution pointer come here and exit this bracket, or you can say complete this execution. That will be a proper inclusive time. But the inclusive time is something how much this function actually took, how much this function actually took. Okay, so both are different. Exclusive means the sum of the entire execution of this function. Inclusive time is only how much time this function took, not its internal call. Okay, so Blackfire is something, it will show only which is something has some taking some more time, but if any execution is negligible, that will not show. My point is, if you see this logger thing, $this logger info, we are just logging some string, and this is a very less time, or we can say negligible, that will not come into the profile. Okay, the profiler will only capture all those things which actually comes into like it will show some trace, and maybe that is actually causing some issues, like that thing it will trace. Okay, so the first point is, if you, okay, so this is the first thing. So so if you see this inclusive time, then the PHP main function is taking longer time. After that, PHP bin Magento taking, then CLI run, and after that, whatever the things is calling internally, it is showing like this, because inclusive is the time of the entire function execution. But exclusive time is something which is time taken by the function itself, not its internal call. So the first thing is the sleep one. The sleep one, it took the 2 seconds. Why it took 2 seconds? Because we are making this 2 seconds as a delay just for the simulation purpose, and then it is showing so 2 seconds. And what is this actually? This is actually a input output wait. So that's why, because this is just waiting to resume the execution. So this is just the input wait. So it is showing here 2 seconds. Okay. Now we have to check from where this particular thing is called. Then here we have some arrow. If we click on here, it will show like it will call from Lucknow Blackfire test model fast loading. So it calls from the fast loadings constructor. So this way we can detect like, okay, this particular things, the slowness is happening from this particular function. So in the real application, what will happen? The sleep will not be there, but might be some heavy resource classes is being injected, maybe the checkout session, because checkout session, if you see, or any session, if you see, it is a long chain. So just an example, if a large number of constructors are injected there, at that time, if you have to debug like why the particular object is taking longer time to load or making delay, that causing the entire flow of the execution slow. So at that time, like that, we can go here, we can see which function is calling time and which function is taking longer time to execute, why this is taking longer time, all those things. And this sleep is executed for the one time. But if you remember here, right, it is, okay. So this is for the one time. Now if you see after this, this composer auto load include file, it is taking 931 millisecond. Why? Because this is lesser than the sleep one, and then we have sorted with the descending order. That's why the maximum one coming first. After that, it is showing the lowest one, like 931 millisecond. Maybe I have to do the composer dump auto load to optimize the composer functionality. So this is the way we can trace here. Okay, like that we can see how many times like the create object is called for the 3232 times. So this is actually needed or not. So all those things we can trace in our real-time application. So this is the story with the left-hand side. Now this is our call graph. Sorry. Yeah, this is our call graph. So if you see here, this particular trace, see here, red. This particular trace is showing some problem, or not some problem, might be some problem with the trace, or might be there are the chances of improvement. So let's zoom it. Not through this, we can zoom it through this one. Okay, we zoom it through here. Now if you see this, we call the PHP main method bin Magento run, do run, We came to here. Then finally, from the fast loading object, it is calling the collect product data. And from this collect product data, it is calling the load method. See, get by ID. Get by ID is calling, and then internally it is calling the product load method, catalog model, Magento catalog model product, and there we have the load method that is internally calling by the get by ID. Okay, and this is calling for the 100 times. Why 100 times? Because we are loading the 100 products here. Because we are loading the 100 products here. So in the real application, in the real time scenario, might be there is some real scenario will be there. Okay, like that, and then so if you see here, this trace is showing that maybe we have some chances of optimization. So please, can you mute if someone is there? Yes, thank you. So yeah, by looking into the trace, what we get to know, this particular path may have some performance issues. Then we can debug our code. We can go one by one here, and also we can check by here. This is call once, this is call once, this is call once. And if you see this 55.85, see, do run command is taking the 55% of the do run. Okay, and this 55.85, consider this as a 100%. Out of this 55%, it is taking for the collect product data, and then it is calling 100 iteration for the product load method, and because of this it is causing the performance issues. And then internally we are using the get name, and then we are calling the get price, that's related to the product attributes. Then it divided into the two hierarchy here, and finally maybe some event observer is registered, all those things. Finally it will go to the PDO MySQL somewhere. Yeah, here PDO MySQL, but PDO MySQL is not the problem, because PDO MySQL is something which has to provide the data. Okay, but the problem is how we are trying to fetch the data. There are two things: whether the PDO MySQL is not able to provide the data fast, or we are trying to fetch the data in a wrong manner. But PDO MySQL is optimized because this is Magento native, and this is optimized, and this is something, there is no issue with the PDO MySQL, because whatever times we will call to MySQL, it will fetch and return data to us. But in what manner we are calling, that depends. That depends means this collect product data. Okay, and this also show like what is the function call. So if you go this, we can click it here, collect product data, then it will show here. Now we can see like this function is taking. So yeah, this function is taking 6.38 wall time. Out of this is 616 millisecond waiting, and then 5.76 for the CPU time, memory time, whatever. Now we have to check from where this function is called. Just click on the above arrow. This has been called from the fast loading. Okay, and so this 100% of times. So my point is, like that we can trace our issue where the problem is. Okay, this also show the DB related queries, whether the DB it is showing which is actually expected or not, or we have some area to optimize the query. So this is something and this we can check with a different dimension. I mean, we can check with the input output weight. We can check with the so here it is showing the sleep. The sleep one means input output weight is taking longer time. Okay, like that we can I mean switch to multiple dimension, like CPU dimension. Now it is showing that this particular path is taking longer CPU cycle or CPU time. See here, this green path is showing. So something wrong with this path that we have to trace. Then just zoom it and check. Okay, this is calling 100 times. Why this is calling 100 times? Let's optimize this. So all those things we can trace. Now there is a second way. Second way is the timeline. So if you see the timeline, the same Blackfire collected data will be shown in a different way. This was kind of a graph manner, and this is kind of a timeline manner. Timeline means, let's say total it took 11.4 seconds. Then what happened at 10 seconds? What happened at 7.5 seconds? So if you see here, so this, see, from at this point, the fast loading object was started creating. Like that we can trace. At this point, I mean, at this point, the fast loading object got created. So if fast loading compile classes, I mean the object manager classes and all started generating here, and then we are calling the fast loading here. After that, from the 5th of second, we can see here this. Sorry, if you see here from the 5 second, it started. See from here, this collect data till here. Collect data till here. See here, if you see here, this collect data till the 11th.4 second, the same function is being called, the same function. Okay, so that is that's why it is showing in the green manner. Then this way we can trace like we at what. So we know the total execution time, it took 11.4 second, but what happened exactly at 6.25 second, or what happened exactly at from the let's say from the 7, let's say what happened at this period of time, and then we can more debug into that call. Okay, like that. I mean, this is just an idea how we can check for the issues in the request that was profiled just before. Number one. And if you see this green part, this blue part is actually the memory footprint. It means how the memory started utilizing while the code execution, how it go up, how it go down, at what time it took the more memory. All those things we can check with this blue part thing. Okay, and we can scroll this whatever area I want. Okay, and then it will start showing that part. So if you see this collect product data, this started since long, and it went for the 11.4 second. Like that, we can debug our real application with the real code or code changes like that. Okay, and here also some other metrics are showing. Like if you see the SQL queries, the total SQL query is how much? See, count is 1140. Input output rate is 602 milliseconds. I mean, to fetch the entire data from the database and provide to the PHP execution, it took 602 milliseconds. Okay, how much memory consumed is 28.1 MB of time it consumed. CPU time this much too. So each and everything we can trace it from here, and also it shows like it. I mean, Blackfire is implemented in such a way it will detect what type of PHP application are you using. So right now I'm using Magento 2 Enterprise Edition. So it's showing like Magento 2 Enterprise Edition is installed. So all those things it will start showing here. Okay, like Xdebug is installed for me. That's why it's showing Xdebug is installed here. Okay, so we understand like we get some sense how we can check our performance issues and all. Okay, so this is a one thing. Through that we just need to whatever command we have, just go to the Blackfire run, and it will start profiling your command. It will generate one profile URL with other info, and then we can go to that profile. We can see what all the area to optimize. We can dig into the code. Okay, and we can search here like whatever the function, if we know like this particular function is taking this much time, to this much time, all those things. So this is the first thing. The second thing, in the main loading, so I have created few things. Like the first one we checked, the call API. In the call API, what I have done here, I have created, I just took a demo mocky.io that used to provide the, I mean, it's an online service that will test for the delay response of the API that I'm delaying for the 2 seconds. Okay, and if we have any third-party API registered or we are using like Blackfire AWS test. So okay. So this is like, I mean, this for the API related profiling. Okay. And in the slow one, what I am doing, I'm just in the slow one. If you go to the slow one, what I'm doing, I have one test file.txt, and this I'm trying to read and write into the another file with multiple times. I mean, this is something like if you have a real time report generation or real time product push to the third party server, or get the import from the third party server at that time. So this is that kind of a simulation. So if we run this profile, okay, so just clear this. Now we have everything is open. Now let's go to the profile with the same command. Yeah. it will start generating the output here, where log so it generated the output. So we got the details. Okay, this is our profile. Okay. Yeah, so here if you see here, so total it took 21 seconds. Okay, and the query count is same, 1140 as we checked before. After that, if you see here, we are making 2 network calls. If you go to the main loading, we are making 2 network calls, mocky.io and Blackfire AWS test. So here we can see 2 seconds because this mock is set for the 2 second here, and 4 second this one is taking. So for demo purpose I have set. So we can see here like this network call is taking this much time. Okay, and now let's see here what can cause the problem. So see, this is the path it is showing. It will come to here. See this path, this path, this path, this path, and then see here and yeah. So Blackfire also support the distributed profiling. Distributed profiling means, let's suppose that you have Blackfire installed on your server and you have some second server also where you are calling some API to get some third-party data or something. Okay, so if the Blackfire is running on the second server also, okay, then internally what will happen, the client ID and all those signature will pass from your server to the second party server also. There also it will authenticate and it will generate profile for that server also. So here we will get 2 profile we will get here. One is this profile, which is the current server, and this one is the this one is the, if you see here, this is the distributed profiling. So this is the current one, so current profile, and this one is the a profile we got from the second server. Then I'm just using the sleep method just to delay something. Okay, so it is just using the sleep method. That's why it is showing here like a 4 second, nothing else. But this is our actual profile. So this is the parent profile. This is a child profile which is generated for the second API server. Okay, and then I mean like that. Now here I want to demo one thing. It's very interesting here. So here if you see, like in the di.xml, for the main loading, I'm replacing the slow object with the proxy. Okay, then what will happen for the proxy method? If you go to the slow loading, the proxy one, proxy one is taking 3 second more delay. It means this is actually a heavy object that may cause loading the delay for the main object itself. I mean, main object means the main loading itself. Okay, so that's why I put it here 3 seconds. And for the fast one, let me put it here just 2 seconds only. So this is bit fast and this one is very slow. Okay, then what will happen once this test command will instantiate, and once this loading main loading will instantiate, it will not wait for the slow one because slow is registered as a proxy. Then it will load in the later span of time. I mean, it will load but in the later timeline. Okay, so that same thing we can check it from here. So if you see this here, okay, so sorry, yeah, so okay, so if you see this, the fast one, the fast one along with that the command object, everything instantiated at very early stage. Okay, but our the slow one is instantiated later stage of the timeline. Okay, this way we can check like which object is instantiating at what time and how we can tune the object or configure our application so that the code can optimize. So this way we can trace it here. So this is something we can debug from the from the command line. Okay, and this Blackfire also support the curl related request. Curl means like we are just executing the PHP script, but if you have some URL also, you just need to pass the Blackfire curl, and it supports all the curl related parameters or switches or options. We can use that. So it supports the curl or it supports the sh also, like Blackfire sh, and then in the codes we can provide whatever the code we are trying to execute, all that also it supports. So this is something related to the Blackfire CLI utility. Now we can same check for the Chrome one. So if you go to here, so let's say like I am on the PLP page. Okay, now we can profile this particular page also. We just need to go to here and just start the profiling. Okay, it will start the profiling and it will make a request for this PLP page, and it will generate the profile, and the profile will be uploaded to here in the Blackfire, and we can see the trace and we can see the metric data where the performance is causing. All those things we can check it here. And this Blackfire also support for the to profile all the request. Okay, to profile all the request means, so it collected everything and it sent to the Blackfire server and it generated the report. Now let's say we have to profile everything. Then here we have a second button, profile all request recording. It will start showing this. Let's say we want to check like the add to cart. Then add to cart request happen, and then the request happened to update the mini cart. Mini cart also logged. Okay, now we can go to the PDP. PDP also will get logged here. So we can trace the entire user journey. So these many calls happen. Okay, so like that we can trace the entire journey. Once done, we can stop that. Then all those profiles, whatever we generated till now from the start profile, all will be uploaded here, and we can debug each one one by one, everything. So okay, this is done. The next is okay, this is done. The next is I want to demo. Yeah, so PHP SDK part. PHP SDK is something console command. Okay, so model fast main loading. Let's comment out this line. Okay, and just do this. Okay, so here if you see, we are just trying to profile. We are just trying to, I mean, we are not trying to profile the fast method, and we are not trying to profile the slow method. I just want to profile the call API because I suspect that call API has some problem. I just want to profile this one. Then we have to install the PHP SDK. The same we have command composer bin. Composer require Blackfire PHP SDK that I have documented in my PPT here. Then it will install one module, the Blackfire PHP SDK, and there we have library like Blackfire client. We can create our own probe, and we don't want to start at the same point, because as a developer I want to decide when I want to enable the profile. Then probe here, probe enable, call API disable, and then it will do the profiling. So just go to here, cancel everything. Then it will not profile for the fast and slow. It will just profile for the, if you go to here, yeah, it will just profile for the call API one, not the other code. This way we can try to profile our own particular piece of code what we implemented, not the entire request. Okay, sorry, Blackfire and probe. I guess some problem is there in the code. Probe disable, probe and probe. Enable first. Okay, some problem is there. I mean, I need to fix this. Not sure what. Okay. Okay, I mean, using this, what will happen? We can profile our piece of code, not the entire code. This is the one thing. Yeah, and also one more thing I want to demo as a last thing. So Blackfire do not support for the to profile any particular piece of code, we need to pass the client ID and client token. So if we are profiling from the browser, this particular extension used to pass the client ID and client token to the probe, which is installed on my server. This way it is authenticated. Once we pass the Blackfire run, at this point we have set the client ID, client token, and it uses internally the authentication. It profiles my code. But during the API implementation, so at this point Blackfire is not providing for any built-in API thing. So if you see here, Blackfire API. So Postman, so it's like Postman is well-known application for the developers, while there is no native Blackfire integration with the Postman. Okay, so what is the recommendation is we can use the PHP SDK, and what we can do, just go to the app autoload.php. Okay, autoload.php. After that, we have to pass one header from the API request that we will validate here. Like if HTTP Blackfire trigger is set to 1, then we will create one client. Okay, and then we will start the probe. And once the PHP execution finish, I mean, one at the time of shutdown, it will disable the probe and it will end the probe. Like that, we will get the like a profile. And to demo that, I have created one script here. One second. C users program files JMeter HNX bin bat. So that's why I have created one script here. Open. Yeah, desktop. Adobe work. Shaya GMX. Just a Blackfire. Okay. Okay, so here I have created one script. There I'm just first registering the customer. The customer will log in. It will get the cart ID, add some product into the cart, and it will add the shipping method, billing address, everything, and then it will try to place the order. But the client is complaining that the place order is taking longer time and the customer registration is taking the longer time. Then as per the this documentation, we have to somehow we have to activate the profile automatically, because this extension is like a automatic profiling. But this is something like we cannot use at the time of a API, because API will not use the browser, or API will not use the CLI. API is something calling from any like a virtual client. The virtual client means it is using some like a server to server call, API call. Okay, then at that time what we have to do, we have to pass one header. So if you go to your HTTP header, I'm passing one Blackfire trigger as one for this request, and for the place order also this request one. And then here I'm getting if that particular header is set, just enable the probe and profile everything through the PHP SDK. I mean the custom profiling. Now let's try to restart this. Maybe it was a 20. So we can see the view trace here. So customer got registered, customer logged in, get the cart ID, add item, estimate shipping method, setting payment method. After that, it is trying to place the order. So order got placed and the response is order ID 19. Okay. Now we had set the header for the place order, and we had set the header for the customer registration. Okay. And this will satisfy this condition in the autoload.php. Then it will create the profile and it will generate the profile report. Now we can go to our profile section. Here we will get two things. One is the V1 customer. V1 customer means to register the customer, because this is a first request then a minute ago, and this is the mine order, this is a placement order. Then this way we can profile our APIs also. If you have requirement to check for the performance issues in the API related thing, this way we can profile our API also. We can pass the header. We have to update this code so that we can use the PHP SDK. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is this thing. And the second one is like assertions we can use here. Assertion means Blackfire provides the functionality, like just rename it for the demo purpose. So there's a one Blackfire.yaml file. In there we can provide our assertion. We have to provide the assertion name and what path we have to perform the assertion, that we can, like right now it will do for all the URLs. And then what is the assertion, like if the main wall time is less than 100 millisecond, if the SQL query count is less than 20 count. So like that we can provide our sets. And for the command, we are saying that if this particular rule is true, then only we will be satisfied, and we will say that our code is now optimized. If it is not passed, then still we have to do the optimization. Like that, we can set our we can set our assertions here. After that, what we have to do? Let me try to again open the function, because this has some issues here. Yeah, open this one. Okay, and let's try to run the game. Because it is profiling everything. It is doing the fast call API, slow, everything it is optimizing. So this is got generated here. We can, sorry, this got generated here. We can go see this. So here we can see our assertion tab. In the assertion tab, whatever we had set, I mean, because this was a command line, so we can go to the command line assertion, and we can see like wall time should be less than 2 seconds, query count should be less than 20 seconds, and peak memory should be less than 50 MB. But here, I guess nothing is satisfied, so that's why everything is showing as a red. So if something like is satisfied, it will show as a green. This way we will get to know whatever our expectation was for the optimization as a checkpoint, that we achieved or not, like that. And so I covered everything. And yeah, just last thing I wanted to show here, last thing, main method. And so I want to reprofile this one again. Okay, I want to reprofile this again. Let me delete it first. Yeah. So in the Blackfire, we can compare the before and after report. Like first we see this many issues. After that, we will optimize the code, and again we can see whether the code is optimized, how much the different data has been reduced, or what happened. Just rename it to something like bad code. Okay, now we can go to the fast loading, and here I have created like an optimized code. Optimized code means instead of loading the product in the for loop, we are fetching to add attribute to select name and price, and then we are printing the product name and price. So this way, the query execution should get, query count, query execution should get reduced. Okay, now let's profile it again, because we optimize the code. Let's run it again. Okay, now let's go to the Blackfire. And here we can see the bad code and good. This is a before code, this is a after code. Now we can go to compare. These two profiles we can compare here. And here we can see like this many query, like if you see this one, right? So we can open side by side both. This one also, this one also. Okay, so here if you see, this is a 1140 request for the query count. This is just a 11 request. 11 request means how it optimized, because we use the select statement. Instead of loading the object again and again, we are just using add attribute to select. This way, the query has been optimized. But here we have lot many queries, and in the comparison we can see -1129 query has been reduced, and overall DB is optimized to 99%. From previous to newer version, then 99 query related optimization happen. Overall wall time optimized by the 45%. Input output reduced to 18%. Memory and the CPU thing reduced to like a 56% optimized. So like that, we can make our optimized code. We can profile again, and then we can compare the both profiles again and after, and then we can see what whatever the optimization to happen or not, and then we can. There is a feature to share this profile. It will make the public, and anyone can access the profile within your team, and then they can see the reports. Okay. So I guess I covered everything here. I covered everything like setup installation, Blackfire CLI, PHP SDK, API profiling, written test paper. Yeah, and these are the reference link, and especially this link I would prefer, this symphonycast.com. These are very good tutorial, is a video tutorial. If you want to learn and to understand the Blackfire in depth, this is a very good tutorial. Okay. Sorry, I took longer time because I have to cover so many things. Still, I didn't cover everything. Like I wanted to cover more in depth, but I didn't get time because it's already passed. So that's all then.
So any questions like we can take now for 5 minutes, and then like we can end the session.
Yes.
Thank you, Anand. It was since it's it's the first presentation you did in a meetup or on a virtual event. It was a great presentation, and I really got to know a lot of things I didn't know about Blackfire.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, actually, I have a lot to explain because we can go into the depth. We can see how actually the authentication is happening between the probe, between the agent. But that will take much more time. Then I wrap up my presentation. Thanks a lot. Yes. Okay. Sure. So let me explain again. So basically, the Blackfire is something. The probe is sitting on the server, and it will responsible to collect the data. But we have to request to the probe just profile this particular request or code or application. But to do that, we need one client. So for the browser, we have a Chrome extension tool, and for the CLI, we have that Blackfire utility. But for the API related, we do not have anything. Then at this point, we can use a PHP SDK, and that PHP SDK is just a PHP code which is provided by the Blackfire that we have to install it, and it will provide the client related functionality, probe related functionality, when to stop the probe, when to again start the probe, and to get the different details from the probe. So all those things we can do. But the point is how we can trigger the probe. That is something we have to pass as a header, and that header we have to use in our autoload.php, and then we have to use our PHP SDK just to start and stop the probe, whatever we want. Yes.
Okay, thanks Anand for explaining it Blackfire in quite a detail. I think a lot of the people attending this meetup were quite impressed with the tool and what it can do for us, and hopefully a lot of people will try to set it up today itself on their local environment to see how it works.
Yeah. And to set up this, it will just hardly take 10 to 15 minutes, and it's a very straightforward step. We just need to follow that the Blackfire documentation. We have everything ready, then we can start the profiling. And actually this is very useful. I'm using this since last 3-4 months, and it is very useful. This is very useful. I highly recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Anand. And again,
Anand, I have a query.
Yes, please.
Hello, Anand.
Yes, please.
Can you suggest that which plan we can start with, like profiler plan is best to start with, or premium premium plan should be used?
Okay, so for this, what I would say, like you just please create one account, okay, and then just go for the 15-day trial for the enterprise one. Then you will get to know like these many features the Blackfire is providing. Okay, like that you can first. I mean, we have to first check like what is the feature. Then we can decide like, okay, let's go for this plan. And we have all the functionality, all the features listed in the pricing list. Like this plan providing these many features, this plan is providing these many features. So as a developer, I want these many features, then I will go for this pricing plan. So that is something we have to decide what all features we want. But
Okay.
but before that, I would say just first start the free trial and check like I mean these many things it is providing, and this will provide if we pay for this this particular software, this will provide this many more features. Then we can decide.
Yes, because they are providing free trial for only premium plan.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. I think we have all the questions answered. I think Sujit also asked, like, I believe it is not limited to Magento only, but any language application, right? So it supports, I think, Golang, I think Python and PHP. So any application on those languages, I think Blackfire
Yes, correct.
is good too.
Correct. It is not specific to Magento. It is specific to like a language like PHP. For any application we can use for this. For Python we can use on this. Yes.
Okay, great. I think we have answered all the questions, and again, thank you so much, Christian, as well as Anand, for volunteering your time on a weekend for this meetup. And it, I think, was a great success. Everybody enjoyed all the content that you provided, and thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Whoever is online at this point of time, thank you so much. We'll share the recordings of this meeting shortly, as well as I think Christian will share and Anand will share his slides as well. So we'll provide all the links in the meetup group itself.
Yes, sure, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Christian. Thank you again, Anand, and all
Thank
of
you,
you
everyone.
for
Thank you.
attending. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.